He wasn't stealing. He wasn't trespassing. He was just coming home, unlocking the garage he had worked years to pay for. But to one neighbor, none of that mattered. To her, his skin color told the story she wanted to believe. Within minutes, blue lights flashed, sirens echoed, and a man's dignity was put on trial. All because someone thought his success couldn't possibly belong to him. What happens when a false accusation collides with a system ready to believe it? This is that story, and it might just change how you see your own neighborhood. It was a quiet Saturday evening in a suburban neighborhood, the kind of place with freshly cut lawns, HOA newsletters, and neighbors who waved politely but rarely spoke. For Marcus, a 38-year-old software engineer, this was home. He had worked years to build this life, earning enough to buy a house in a neighborhood that promised peace and safety for his young daughter. His garage wasn't just a place to park his car. It was his symbol of success, a reminder of long nights at the office, of sacrifices, and of dreams finally realized. That afternoon, he had gone out to run errands. Nothing unusual. Grocery bags in one hand, car keys in the other. He pulled into his driveway just as the sun began to dip. His daughter's laughter echoed faintly from inside the house. It was supposed to be an ordinary evening. Quiet, calm, forgettable. But across the street, behind a set of neatly trimmed hedges, someone else was watching. A neighbor who didn't see Marcus as a hard-working father or a respected professional. To her, he was a question mark, a suspicion, a problem waiting to be reported. As Marcus unlocked his garage and began unloading his groceries, she picked up her phone. In her mind, she wasn't witnessing a man coming home. She was watching what she thought was a crime in progress. And with one call to 911, the ordinary became extraordinary. The dispatcher's voice echoed through the woman's speaker. 911, what's your emergency? Her words came fast, frantic, dripping with fear she had manufactured. There's a man breaking into the garage across the street. He's taking things out. I think he stole that car. Please send someone right away. No mention that Marcus lived there. No hesitation to claim theft. Just certainty in her own assumptions. Within minutes, a patrol car rolled into the neighborhood. The flashing lights cut through the calm evening. Neighbors peeked out from curtains, curious but silent. Marcus looked up, confused. He hadn't done anything. He was standing in his own driveway. Yet the sight of the police car, tightening its turn toward him, sent a chill down his spine. The officer stepped out, hand resting on his belt. His eyes darted from Marcus to the house, then back again. "Sir, what are you doing here?" the officer asked, voice clipped, authoritative. Marcus blinked. "I live here. This is my home." But the officer wasn't satisfied. He circled, inspecting the garage door, the car, the grocery bags, as though the crime was hiding somewhere between them. Behind him, the neighbor stood at a distance, arms folded, watching. Her presence was like fuel to the fire. Every suspicious glance she cast seemed to validate the doubt in the officer's eyes. Marcus felt the weight of it all pressing down, the unspoken accusation, the mistrust, the humiliation of having to prove he belonged in a space he had paid for. His voice stayed calm, but inside, fear clawed at him. He had seen stories like this before. Stories that ended with men like him on the ground, in handcuffs, or worse. He knew that one wrong move, one twitch, one misunderstood gesture could turn his driveway into a headline. The officer demanded ID. Marcus complied, fumbling slightly as he reached into his wallet, every movement deliberate and slow. When he handed over his license, the officer studied it, glanced at the address, then at the man standing before him. But even as the truth stared back in black and white print, doubt lingered. The neighbor's voice cut through the air again. "That's not his car. I just bought that model last week. He must have stolen it." Her words sharpened the tension like a blade. Marcus's pulse quickened. This wasn't just about groceries anymore. It was about survival. The officer's tone shifted. Harder now. "Step away from the vehicle." Marcus's stomach dropped. His daughter was watching from a window, tiny hands pressed against the glass. He wanted to shield her from this, but there was no hiding it anymore. With measured steps, he moved back, heart pounding. His groceries sat half unloaded on the driveway, milk dripping from a cracked carton, bread crushed beneath the weight of fear. The officer called for backup. Another patrol car arrived. Then another. Within minutes, 3 police cruisers lined the street. Red and blue lights painted the neighborhood in chaos. Marcus stood alone under the glare, accused not by evidence, but by perception. One officer whispered to another. They approached the car, inspected the plates, ran them through the system. Marcus waited, breath shallow, every second stretching into eternity. Finally, the result came back. The car was his, registered to his name, parked in his own driveway. But instead of relief, Marcus felt only exhaustion. He had done everything right, followed the rules, paid his dues, built a life. Yet here he was, treated like an intruder in his own home. The officers turned toward the neighbor. "Ma'am, this vehicle is registered to him. He lives here." Her face twisted, a mix of embarrassment and stubbornness. But no apology came, no acknowledgement of the harm she had caused. She simply muttered something about just trying to keep the neighborhood safe, and retreated behind her door. Marcus was left standing in the glow of sirens, surrounded by silence. The damage was done. The police left. The neighbor disappeared. The groceries were ruined. But the sting of that night stayed with Marcus long after the sirens faded. It wasn't just the humiliation of being accused. It was the reminder that no matter how much he achieved, some people would never see past his skin. To them, his success wasn't earned, it was suspicious. His presence wasn't welcome, it was threatening. For his daughter, the memory of watching her father questioned like a criminal at their own home would never fully fade. She had seen the truth too early, that even in the safest neighborhoods, injustice could knock on your door uninvited. Marcus rebuilt his evening, unloading the groceries that weren't spoiled, tucking his daughter into bed with a forced smile. But inside, he carried the weight of a question. How many more times would this story repeat? Because Marcus's story isn't just his. It echoes through countless lives. Black men and women forced to justify their existence, prove their belonging, defend their dignity. All because someone decided they didn't fit. So, the next time you see a neighbor, ask yourself, do you see them for who they are? Or do you see them through the lens of prejudice? And if this story moved you, share it. Because silence allows these moments to keep happening. And if you believe stories like Marcus's deserve to be heard, don't just watch. Support. Subscribe. Add your voice. Because every time we speak up, we bring the world one step closer to change.